Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 5 4 key game picks. Before we talk about Week number 5, way too many things went on in Week number 4, and I'm going to try to make my thoughts really quick because I feel like the story that came out of Week number 4, despite the fact that we only have one undefeated team left, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. And the way I look at it right now, it's very difficult to say right now. I mean, it's only 4 games into the regular season right now, and there's the way a lot of teams have played, it's really difficult to say right now which NFL team has an edge right now. If you're going to go by statistics, the Eagles are still undefeated, and you may consider the Eagles maybe right now currently the best team right now in the NFL if you go by record, because of the fact that the way that the Eagles have played very well. Even though they did struggle against the Jaguars, which was expected, because the Jaguars, I have to admit, are not a joke. They are really starting to make themselves contenders, and Doug Peterson's done a fantastic job with being able to keep the Jaguars focused and everything for that matter. But if you look at it from that point, you could say the Eagles could make an argument that they are the best team in the NFL at the moment, but that's basically if you're going by record, though. But the way I look at it right now, I think to me, if there's any NFL team that's probably starting to make a case and make a move right now, I hate to say it, it is the Kansas City Chiefs. Given how they destroyed the Buccaneers on Sunday, they bounced back after getting embarrassed last week against the Colts. The way I look at it right now, the Chiefs might be the team that's starting to make their case right now is to make a move to be the best team in the NFL this season, because you could also say, well, what about the Bills? The Bills really struggled against the Ravens. They had to come from behind again to win, and there's some huge question marks going on for that Bills team right now, despite the injuries and the way that the defense struggled so much against the Ravens, and the offense really helped pick up the slack. And they really bailed themselves out in that game against the Ravens. And I look at it from the rest of week number 4. Obviously, anybody who saw the game against the Vikings and Saints, the double doink, man, that game was good. Vikings are making their case in the NFC North. They're still, well, right now they're kind of tied for first place right now with the Packers. And it's really, you got big time competition in the NFC North. The NFC East has been a huge surprise with right now the Cowboys, the Eagles, and surprisingly the New York Giants have been pretty competitive. But when I look at it right now, like I said, it's early in the season right now. We don't really know what to expect down the road, and how embarrassing it was for the defending champion Rams just to get demolished again in San Francisco on Monday night. There's some big time question marks. The Rams better answer, and they better find some answers now, because they got a tough game coming up against the Cowboys this Sunday. That is going to be one of my key game picks I will get into in just a few minutes. But anyways, let's talk about week number 5, shall we? Let's begin with key game number 1. It is the New York Giants versus the Green Bay Packers. Making a note that this is one of the international games. This game is being played in London. And talking about the New York Giants here, they lost 2 quarterbacks, and who knows who's going to be starting for quarterback if Daniel Jones continues to have problems with his ankle. He got injured late in the game, and then Tyrod Taylor had to come in from it, and then he ended up getting a concussion. So there is some huge question marks right now. Who's going to quarterback for that New York Giants right now? That is assuming if Daniel Jones is cleared. I don't think Tyrod Taylor is going to be cleared to play in this game because he's under concussion protocol. So right now, there are some huge question marks. Who is going to quarterback this team? Now, Daniel Jones went 8 of 13 before he got injured. 71 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions here. And you look at Green Bay and the Packers, they had to really fight for their lives in that game against the Patriots. That game definitely went to overtime, and they were fortunate enough to win on a game-winning field goal. And you got to wonder about the Packers, too. Did the Patriots find some flaws with the Green Bay Packers? Rodgers actually did struggle most of the game until he finally got a groove in the fourth quarter. Obviously, 1 pick 6 he had in that game. His stats, 21 of 35, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, which is, of course, that pick 6 he threw. It took until overtime to beat a Patriots team that basically didn't have Mac Jones, and they didn't have Brian Hoyer. He had a concussion in that game. They had to go to a third-string quarterback. It's going to be tough to say how this game will play out. Look, the Packers are an 8-point favorite in this one here. I would say that's just about right. And the only reason why I consider this as a key game, if most of the Giants starters are not going to be playing in this game, obviously the key for the Giants, they got to find some way to get Barkley running the ball. But even then, even if they get Barkley established, you know the Packers defense is going to be ready for that. They know full well that they don't know if Jones is going to play. Obviously, I don't think Tyrod Taylor is going to play because he has to clear concussion protocol. And given the fact that they're in London, I don't know. I doubt he'll be cleared. So I'm going to make this a very quick pick. And the only reason why I'm considering this as a key game is because the Giants right now are trying to stay relevant in the NFC East, given their record right now. Because, look, you could say that the Giants are getting lucky in some of those games. It's really tough to say. But I just think this is an obvious, easy pick here. If you want one sure pick in the games here in all the games in week number 5, you got to go with the Green Bay Packers here. Their defense is going to whoever's a quarterback here. I think their defense will definitely get to the quarterback, whether if it's Jones or who knows who's going to start on for the Giants. And you know they're gonna really build a wall to stop Barkley. I doubt that Barkley's going to run over their defense. I doubt it. He might get some good run. He might get some good run and gain yardage, but I just don't think you're not going to be able to rely on him all game long for this. So yeah, Packers will beat the Giants. I expect this to be. I don't know if this will be a blowout or not. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they get into a close game here, given the fact that the Packers really struggle defensively, and there is some question marks on their defense, too. But I think no question the Packers will beat the Giants in this one here. I'm picking on a Packers, 8-point favorite. You got to go with the Packers here. Packers over the Giants. Key game number 2. Going into the AFC East here, it is the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets. For a long time, I have talked about the New York Jets in a 4-key game video. And given the fact that the Jets, with a 2-2 record after beating a quarterbackless Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to give the Jets some credit here. I mean, look at it this way. They came from behind to beat the Browns, and they beat the Steelers. And you look at it now. Now you're playing within the division. It's been a long time since a Dolphin-Jet game has actually been meaningful. And you couldn't come in a better game where the Jets have a chance to beat the Dolphins. They haven't beaten the Dolphins in quite some time. Now, obviously Tua is not going to be playing in this game because he did not clear concussion. He's cleared, but they're going to sit him down, which is the right call. If you want, let me give my quick thoughts. The Dolphins really screwed up. They should have sat down Tua. Obviously, one of their medical staff members was fired, so basically, the whole point was he should have never been playing in that game against the Bengals last week in the first place if he really had a concussion, which obviously a lot of it was a lie about his back injury when really it was a concussion. But anyways, that's all my opinion on that. Let's talk present day right now and talking about this game here between the Dolphins and the Jets. Now, Terry Bridgewater had to fill in for the rest of the game against the Bengals. He went 14 of 23, 193 yards. He had 1 touchdown, but he did have 1 interception. Now, Zach Wilson, in his first game back from injury, he went 18 of 36, 252 yards, 1 touchdown, but he was intercepted twice in that game against the Steelers. The key for this game for both these two teams, obviously, is going to be turnovers here. Who will have control, who's not going to turn the ball over, and who's going to be making plays. The Dolphins are a slight 3-point favorite in this one here, and it would not surprise me if this number goes to 2.5, maybe 2, by the time it's kickoff for this game. Like I said, a lot of it's going to determine between turnovers and who will have better ball control and who can make plays here. It's really tough to say who's going to win this game because this game could go either way. This is a game you got to treat this with caution here. It's going to be I think it's going to be a close game. But somehow, someway, the Dolphins kind of do have a much slightly better team than the Jets do. The Jets haven't gotten lucky on their comebacks here. But it is going to be a close game. It's definitely going to be a very, very close game. This definitely will go back and forth in this one here. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. I think the Dolphins, they got enough talent on that team to beat the New York Jets here. Obviously, the quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater's a veteran. He knows how to handle that position. They just got to get the running game going here. I think their running game will definitely find a way to break through that Jets defense, and they'll be able to make plays here. I'm going to pick the Dolphins here, but treat this with caution here. It's going to be a close game. Dolphins are a field goal favorite in this one by 3. And I would, like I said, expect that number to go down a little bit lower by the time it's kickoff for this game. I'm going to pick the Dolphins here. Dolphins over the Jets. Key game number 3, it is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Rams. I don't know how the Rams are 6-point favorite in this one here against the Cowboys when really the favorite, that number either should be much, much more lower given how they played against the 49ers, or the Cowboys should be favored in this game. I don't know why the odds makers have the Rams as a favorite. I don't know what they see in this here. But obviously because they're saying they're not because of Cooper Rush, will his luck run out and all. Look, I don't make the odds makers, and as I said in the disclaimer, look, I only do straight pick'em games. I don't do anything about the spread or anything because that's not my expertise. Now, Cooper Rush went 15 of 27, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And look, they really blew out the Commanders. That was expected. Washington is a terrible team. The Rams, Matthew Stafford, 32 of 48, 254 yards, no touchdowns, and it's actually 2 interceptions. Or actually, no, 1 interception was a pick 6. And he did fumble, so sorry about that. Question marks for the Rams. It's really crunch time for the defending Super Bowl champions here. What is their identity? What are they made of here? And what is one of the things they need to fix here? Obviously, the offensive line did a terrible job of protecting Matthew Stafford against the 49ers last week, and they better find a way to come up big in protecting Stafford to make some plays because that Cowboy defense is no joke. Their defense is just as tough as the 49ers defense is. The Cowboys, obviously, they don't have to rely so much on Cooper Rush because he can make some certain plays. He's been pretty good the last 4 games. He's been pretty effective. But a lot of it, where is Ezekiel Elliott though? You got to wonder about their running game too. Their running game hasn't been seen for much. Where is the running game here? So I can kind of understand why the odds makers made the Rams a slight favorite. But what I mean by slight favorite, they're a 6-point favorite, which that number should be much lower. Question marks here for both these two teams and where they stand. And a lot of it's going to determine if they don't make turnovers and who can make the plays here. This game will definitely be close. I could see this being a very close game here. I think the Rams will get back on track here. I don't think they're going to have another bad game here. There's no way. But look, they got the talent, and I can see them breaking that Cowboys defense here. Obviously, I know they're missing some key players on their wide receivers and all. Obviously, because everybody's probably, the Rams are targeting Cooper Kupp so much, and then they're forgetting about Higbee and the rest of their wide receivers. It's going to be a close game. Treat this with enormous caution here because I expect this game to be close. I'm going to pick the Rams here. I think they get back on track here. I don't see them. And look, this is really crunch time for the Rams and what they're made of here. I think the Cowboys, their luck may run out here with Rush. Obviously, he's going to still play because Dak Prescott's hand, the way I'm reading from Cowboys' perspective right now, he's not ready yet, so he won't be playing in this game either way. But I think the Rams will barely beat the Cowboys here. I think the Rams win by a field goal in this game here. I'm going to pick the Rams over the Cowboys. And finally, key game number 4, a big one in the AFC North. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are a slight 3-point favorite in this one here. That number will probably be much lower. Maybe 2.5, maybe 2 by the time it's kicked off for Sunday night. Joe Burrow last week in a big win over the Dolphins, 20 of 31, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 20 of 29, 144 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Those interceptions were costly last week against the Bills. And now is huge question marks right now. The Ravens, another home game here, and they've lost 5 straight home games already. This is where is their identity here? Obviously, the offensive line has struggled to protect Lamar Jackson. Not only that, Defense-wise, they really had really struggled here. Bengals are starting to get on the groove. Their offensive line looks like they're finally getting their act together. They're finding ways to protect Joe Burrow here. You could say that I might lean towards the Bengals here. But when I look at it from a standpoint here, this is where the Ravens defense got to step it up here. They got to find a way to get to Joe Burrow. They got to figure out a way to get to him and expose that, that the offensive line, they considered that they are struggling here to protect Burrow. That's going to be one of the keys for the Ravens to win this game. And can Lamar Jackson limit the turnovers? Because that's what's really killed them in the last few games. I think, but when I look at it at this point, this is a home game, another home game for the Ravens, and a game that the Ravens have to have because this basically is for control of the division. It's basically early control for the AFC North division here. I'm going to pick the Ravens here. I think the streak ends. I think the Ravens will win on a Justin Tucker field goal. I think they'll win by 3 points. It's going to be a back and forth game. I don't see any way this game is a blowout. It's going to be a back and forth game here. But I can see the Ravens winning on a last-second field goal. You got to trust Justin Tucker here. I don't know why Harbaugh did not go for 3 points in the game against the Bills. That really cost them the game. But I don't think Harbaugh is going to make that mistake again. You got to trust your kicker. You know Justin Tucker is one of the best in the league. And I think it's going to come down to a field goal here. I think that the Ravens will beat the Bengals by a field goal here. And that's what I'm going to go with. And I think that 3 points may be just about right. It could be 2.5 by kickoff here. I'm going to pick the Ravens over the Bengals. All right, everybody. I talked for a long time here. Thank you for watching my video. And of course, like I said, check out all of my NFL Week 5 picks in the description below. I'll talk to you guys next week when I make my picks for week number 6. Take care.